孙子兵法，摄影小组。
Okay, all right. Hopefully everybody's awake by now. We're going to stick with tradition, and I guess it's losers first. So, coming in last, I'd like to present. We basically went with the theme of anyone familiar with Sun Tzu, The Art of War? Okay. Right, as you all know, as you're playing this game, it's pretty much like warfare. So this is pretty much what we embarked on from the start. So why don't we go from the beginning of this story? Okay, so once upon a time, 10 weeks ago, right, in a land far, far away called Industry 5, right, everybody was positioned, right, with their product and sort of their region, right? We have some different kingdoms represented here. It's the Kingdom of Taiwan down here. Okay. So when we took a look at the perception map, right, there were obviously some markets that were more fertile than others, right? You had products with high margins, great positioning. So you see the zone right here, right? We see this market and these products, right, stretching across a vast area. We had our own little fiefdom over here, and then there are various others. But as you all know, it was kind of hard to get the crops to grow in certain areas. Certain areas just didn't produce the same sort of results. Go ahead and go to the next slide. But we recognized that right, there were a number of strategies that we could uptake in order to deal with this situation. And Ivy will talk a little bit about how we employed ourselves at the start.
Okay. First, what do we learn from Sun Tzu? Because that the art of war just tell us how to win or how to beat your enemy very hard. So first, our objective is to consolidate market share. So we even want to lower our price to beat our competitor. That's very aggressive because all we want is just grab the market share. And also we take away our competitors' sales because we don't want them to be too powerful. So they said give them nothing but take from them everything. So we want to just grab their market share. And also and we also want to cooperate with Team A because the enemy's enemy is our friend. So, because we want to be Team E. They are the first place. So what we learned from this one, they said if you know the enemy and you know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. So our tactics, first one, we use competitive pricing because they say keep your friend close but your enemy closer. So we just relative to competitors and we look at the statistic-based contribution resource. So that means we set our price, use a very scientific way. We not just guess or we use our instincts. No, because the salespeople based upon expect contribution and the communication budget we based on the desired market complex. So all we want is just money. So we concentrate on the maximize our ROI. Then next one. So there are some evidence. See, in period 1, period 2 were really good, right? Very close to Team E. But and look at that.
Okay.
So because we're really doing well in period 1 and 2, so that resulted in a very high budget in period 3. So we're so happy about that. But
okay. So basically, every period you have to take a look at your competition and see where they're at. And in period 3, basically we were in a situation of gridlock where we have two markets, high earners and professionals, were very, very close together. And basically Team E, we were kind of neck and neck, and they were starting to encroach upon our territory. And so basically the strategy from there, keeping with the market share strategy, we decided that go ahead and change it. Right, because we have this sort of encroaching situation right here, we decided that we needed to go into new markets, and consistent with going into new markets and a market share strategy is an early mover strategy. So next slide, please. Okay, so basically we decided very early on, from the head start, to conquer and enjoy the spoils of the Vodite market. We wanted to be the first mover here. We wanted to establish our presence, raise brand awareness, raise purchase intention high enough where we would be able to consolidate that market as well because of the vicious home territory that we resided in. Okay, so basically, this was a situation where it was now or never. We had to move our resources, and we took a very big gamble. As you all know, if you've tried R&D for the Vodite market, you have to spend at least $4,000 or $5,000. Okay, okay, so we were very ambitious, but this operation ended up sinking the entire operation. There was actually a glitch in the computer. When we put in the query, they had said that it only requires maybe 2,000 or something like that, and we had thought that would be sufficient enough. So when we put in that amount for R&D, it came back next period saying that the product was not successfully created. So therefore, we had taken a huge hit in our advertising budget. If every $1,000 you take away, that takes away the effectiveness of all of your products and the value of your entire portfolio. So that was pretty much the beginning of the end. Go on. Okay, so this marks kind of the next period. This was very prolonged. It was a period where we were very hungry. None of our battles seemed to kind of go our way, and it was pretty much because of the result of that failed R&D project. So as you all know, if you have limited budgets, right, you don't have communications budgets, you don't have R&D capability, so we weren't able to really launch a huge number of products. The other problem that we were finding is that our consumer markets were being very unresponsive. We would exhaustively plan our R&D. We would make sure that we were catering to the market that we catered to, but as soon as we came out with the new product, the perception did not move at all. And so, right, when you're having a low purchase intention, right, you're gonna have low sales, you're gonna have a low marketing budget for the next period, right? And it was kind of this downward spiral, and we were trying to figure out what it was. Were we not dedicating enough money to R&D? Did we just get our metrics wrong when we were planning for our new products? So we were kind of mystified by other teams' abilities to kind of hit the mark, right on the consumer market, and sometimes not even doing any R&D modifications either. So we were constantly scratching our heads throughout this period. So as you can see, right, we were on top in period 2, right, giving us a big marketing budget. We wanted to launch the product. It failed, put a dent in our marketing R&D, and basically you see how it kind of perpetuates this cycle of low returns. Okay, so basically when you're in this sort of a position, you have to move to a subsistence and a resource concentration strategy. So basically what we had to do was, for any of our products that were still out there, not very successful, we had to just kind of give the minimum in order to keep their brand recognition. We needed to make sure that we concentrated all of our resources just on one market as opposed to spreading it out among many. So you basically work with what you have and try to make the best of it throughout those periods. And one of the quotations that we found helpful for this period is, "He will win who knows when to fight and when not to fight." So sometimes not fighting can be just as effective as fighting if you're concentrating your resources in the right direction. Okay, so we finally realized that the market perception was basically due to people's previous perception of the brand. So no matter how much money you put into R&D, if you have the same name, people are not going to change in their perception. So we had all these different products that we had created, and they were perfectly matched to the market, and they hadn't succeeded before. We relaunched them with new names, and this pretty much surpassed all of our expectations for how we did within certain markets, like especially within the professionals market. We launched a product to rival Semi, and within our first period, we we well exceeded 10% of the market.
17.
Yeah, that was selling out of our product. So we could have easily maybe done 20, 30, 40% of the market. Had we realized this much earlier, it could have been a lot different. We decided to leave pretty much all of our resources that were not doing well, not put any money into them. We decided not to dump the inventory because you'd be losing money automatically. So we just let them sit in the markets without any advertising or very low salespeople, but we still managed to sell out of those products as well. So we were able to gain quite a bit with those new products and also get what we could out of the old ones. Okay, so as you can see, we relaunched with some new products. These were pretty much right on the dot. So a name change does a big, huge favor in that case. Okay, and we extrapolated a few lessons. Ivy will be speaking about.
Yeah, that's how we learned. And you know what? Everybody knows John Lennon, right? What he told about us. All we need is love, right? No, it's money. We need money. Okay, because no money we can, because we have bad sales, so low budget, we can't do anything. Not like Ting E, they have lots of money, but that's a reality, Any man who falls behind is left behind. So because we need the big communication budget, we can, raise our brand awareness, and also we need a lot of salespeople to sell for us, but we don't have money, that's a problem. And we also need the R&D budget so we can improve our product. But we don't have it, so money is everything. Next we learn is image is everything. And you see that there's a paper tiger there? Because in China that means you look like a tiger, but you're just a paper. So, because we're weak inside. And also I have another example. Everybody knows Paris Hilton, right? No matter how she dressed like a princess, you also know she is yeah. So image is everything. So, because we changed our name and we will bring really high sales, but we didn't. So people still think we are a weak product. So we learned image is everything. Next.
Okay. Don't leave your seats yet. We still have some more lessons. Focus is everything. In the face of desperation or greed, right? You want to go out into different markets. You want to capture this market. You want to capture that market. But in reality, happens to you like Ben Stiller in what's that called, the Night Watch Guard. Right? You get pulled in every which direction. I mean, we were actually thinking of putting a picture of one of those horse pulling things, but felt it was a little bit too graphic for this class. So by not keeping your focus, right, you get stretched out. You're not effective at anything you do. Also, right, you can't get attached to your product as your baby, right? Just because you made it, right, just because you've been there so long, I mean, that doesn't really matter. I mean, in the end, it's all about what products sell, what products work. If they don't work, right, they should just be abandoned. Okay, and last lesson, luck is everything, right? Sometimes not everything is in your control. The lesson of the silver spoon, right? Sometimes certain individuals or certain teams, right, they might be, well, let's say born in a market where you have high product margins, the product is very highly catered to the individual, you have, as a result, you have a high purchase intention, and just everything is downhill from there. It's pretty much an easy ride. Also, sometimes you don't have anything to base your moves off of other than sheer intuition. And when we went into the Vodite market, we did use some metrics. We created a consumer curve that was similar to the Vodite market. We felt that they would fall somewhere within this region, right? We were targeting the followers because of the potential growth of that market. But we didn't end up being on the dot. It was just kind of like shooting in the dark. Lastly, computers are evil, right? Had that not happened to us, it could have been a very, very different story. So you never know what you're going to get sometimes with a computer. So pretty much this is just our journey, right? We have our brief moment of conquest and glory, and then after the whole R&D thing, right? It's downhill from there. But we learned a lot along the way, and we appreciated the tough competition from all our competitors. So I'd like to thank everybody.